getting smaller, the age-old phrase. I'm sure most of you have had your small world experiences. My most recent one came last week on a plane from Phnom Penh to Bangkok. Midway through the flight, the guy sitting next to me gave me a little nudge on the shoulder and asked me where I was from. London, have you been? I responded. He looked intrigued. Yes, whereabouts in London? Chiswick, I said proudly. I'd never seen a look of such astonishment on someone's face before. And then he shouted to both me and the 10 aisles either side of us, I used to work at Chiswick Sainsbury's in the HR department while I was doing my master's degree at Greenwich University. The astonishment on both our faces was more than mutual at this stage. And here is the man himself, Mr. Abu. A lovely chap, and what a small world it is. I'm Sam Hiscocks, co-founder of Tripwire, a fresh startup on the travel block. What has given us the opportunity to deliver this to the travel community, and me the pleasure of trekking all the way up to York today. Technology. Technology is inherently full of surprises, some which take humanity down a good path and some which breed negativity. We certainly don't know what the future holds, but we don't want the capability of and reliance on technology to eradicate real-life experiences. Hopefully the fictitious visions of both iRobot and Terminator don't come to fruition, and there'll never be a day or age where real-life experiences are compromised because of technology, because both Will and Arnie aren't always going to be there to have our back. And there is a growing concern that we are burying our heads in this digital sand as we speak and shying away from reality. Nonetheless, technology is an entity which is constantly evolving our ability to explore. An opportunity I grabbed with both hands at the age of 8 when I snuck onto my parents' computer and typed www.boobies.com into Google. Alas, no one had masterminded that domain name yet, and to rub the salt in the wound, my laugh-stricken parents later discovered my endeavors after failing to close the tab. An example of how both technology and real-life experiences can bring people together, albeit at my expense this time. One of the industries that's been most impacted by this technological boom is the travel sector. But first, let's take a step back to the Stone Age, putting ourselves in the shoes, or lack thereof, of a caveman or cavewoman. There they were, just wandering, searching instinctively in search of enlightenment and sustenance. Imagine if they'd had Just Eat, delivering their roasted wild boar every evening. Tinder, to give that fire pit that extra sizzle. Or even simply just a map to navigate towards the next village or water source. So with regards to the cave contingent, ultimately they had issues with accessibility, information, and interactivity. And this is how I would define the 3 key evolutions across the travel technological timeline to date. The age of accessibility, the age of information, and the age of interactivity. The first advance was in the realm of accessibility, being able to get more easily from point A to point B. People didn't always know where point B was, but they were giving a means of venturing into the abyss to try and find it. The invention of the wheel in 9500 BC and the boat in 8000 BC were the big bangs in terms of accessibility. The efficiency of this accessibility continued to grow through the creation of the first petrol-powered automobile by Carl Benz in 1886, hell of a mustache. The Wright brothers, who wingmanned each other into the invention of the aeroplane in 1902, and Neil Armstrong, who took that first leap for mankind in 1969 onto the moon and beyond. The constant development of transport opened up new corners of the world for mapping. People now knew how to get from point A to point B, but upon arrival, unless you're one of the talented bilingual ones, you'd have to rely on a kerfuffle of gestures or have asked advice from travelers that had previously trodden that path. People were in the market to be guided to where the action was. The stage was now set for the next age of evolution. The first travelers to publish real insight into global destinations were the lovely couple behind me here, Tony and Maureen Wheeler, who in 1972 published the Lonely Planet Travel Guide to the World. We had entered the age of information. Forget getting from A to B, people can now find their way from X to C, and had an initial opinion on where the best real-life experiences were in each destination. I purposefully used the Dr. Evil-esque quotation marks because these were the best real-life experiences in the eyes of Lonely Planet. Just because they said X or C was good doesn't necessarily mean you or I would personally enjoy it. More opinions and feedback was needed to help curate a journey that was fitted to our preferences. Traveling during the age of information would seem pretty prehistoric to many of us millennial travelers. The curly-haired young whippersnapper behind me here, my dad, the Padre, still tells me stories of stepping off the plane in Rio, completely cut off from back home, a rucksack filled with travel guides, maps, a Walkman, a journal, and his wolf shirt, of course. He met plenty of lovely people along the way, but the reality was he would probably never see or speak to them again, not through lack of wanting, but through lack of mobile interactivity. This gap then duly paved the way for the next age, the third age, the age of interactivity, which came courtesy of a digital cocktail of both internet and mobile technologies in the late 1990s. People now had access to a whole host of opinions online, which could help curate a journey fitted to their preferences. I could share my opinions of my real-life experiences and get feedback from other people in response. Thus, a two-way digital conversation had begun. Those mojitos are genuinely really good as well, by the way. For us, the Tripwire app light bulb moment happened during the age of interactivity in 2010, when we were traveling through Southeast Asia. However, due to shoddy Wi-Fi connectivity and a lack of smartphones on the road, we felt the world wasn't quite ready for it yet, but we were poised. Shimmy forwards to today, and I've just stepped off the plane after soft launching Tripwire in Cambodia for the last 2 months. The impact that travel's had on both the tech infrastructure and the local economy is inspiring. Believe it or not, even some of the tuk-tuks are now pimped out with their own Wi-Fi. This inaugural trip was a real eye-opener for us. And through our own experiences and talking to other travelers, hostel owners, tour operators, the locals themselves, and probably even myself after a few too many of those passion fruit mojitos, we conjured up 3 key innovations as to how travel and technology combined can help enhance our real-life experiences moving forward. I've combined those 3 key innovations under the 4th and current age of the travel technological timeline, the age of immediacy. Innovation number 1, from the palm of the hand to the tip of the finger. The introduction of the smartphone and the whirlwind of apps that followed opened up our ability to inform, interact, and access all in the palm of our hand. On the road, there's now an app for pretty much everything, even the tightly named sit or squat, which gives travelers a heads up as to which toilets are cleanest for dropping the proverbial kids off at the pool. However, due to the broad selection of apps that are available in the palm of the hand, travelers are forced to shuffle through a number of different platforms to access one or achieve one ultimate goal: time wasted. Future technology should aim to bring the fragmented digital app market in each niche under one roof, taking the best of the palm of the hand and packaging it up tightly at the tip of the finger. One click gives you access to everything. In our case, and in the case of travel, this is the ability to discover, plan, share, connect, reflect, and book all under one roof. In the case of the lives of the travelers and the local businesses, their lives are simplified in this case. Innovation number 2, real-time relevance. The first 3 eras of the travel technological timeline made us more content-hungry and impatient as a race. And now in an era of daily pop-ups, fresh deals, craft beers, and new off-the-beaten-track experiences, certainly travel guides and even the likes of TripAdvisor struggle to keep up with the pace of local happenings. And as people and as users, we deserve insight that's not only relevant to our location and personality, but is also as up to the minute as possible. The only people that really know what's going down are the travelers and the locals that are living the real life, right here, right now, or right there, right now. Their word of mouth and your word of mouth is a powerful tool. Imagine if you could digitalize and localize that word of mouth, plugging people in directly to their physical environment and real-life experiences around them. For the case of local businesses, this gives them a real voice outside of the more financially driven publicity platforms, such as TripAdvisor and Hostelworld. The word-of-mouth data collated from these right here, right nowers creates a virtuous circle. Take Harvey here, for example. Through sharing his experiences, we've learned that he likes to stay at lively hostels, which he tends to book 2 days in advance, by the way, and then looks to seek out the closest bungee jump where possible. An outgoing adrenaline seeker, it seems. Through getting to know Harvey and other users, we can tailor the experience to him, tailor the app experience and therefore his real life experiences to him. Tailoring the experience to the user opens up the opportunities for them to do what they want, when they want it, and sometimes even before they realize they want it. Exhibit A. Harvey's just touched down in Kampot, this beautiful riverside town in Cambodia. And lo and behold, he gets notified about a half-price bungee jump, which is located a couple of kilometers away from the Mad Monkey Party hostel he's been recommended to stay at. Oh wait, and there's also a notification waiting in the wings about a hotly anticipated burrito shack, which is opening up the day he arrives in Bangkok a week later. Caveat, we've also learned Harvey loves burritos. Through getting to know our users and local partners, we can open up their favorite real-life opportunities and experiences, connecting them with the people and experiences that make them feel happy, enlightened, inspired, ecstatic, excited, all of the above, and all of which then becomes social currency which they're motivated to share with the community, feeding the virtuous circle. Innovation number 3, traveling together, connected, and it should say forever as well there, the dream. Reverting back to those small world experiences and Mr. Abu that we talked about at the beginning, there's no trail where that is more rife than in Southeast Asia. At every destination, you'll bump into a whole host of people that you've met before, and also miss out on a number of people that you didn't realize were there at the same time. Missed real-life opportunities. Fine, you would have probably added them on Facebook because it's second nature, and occasionally see they're still alive and well as they post up photos, and you might like them or whatever, but you'll rarely or never chat again. Imagine if you could automate and simplify this reconnection process, open up people's real-life experiences. Take Jess as a Wanderer, for example, one of our ambassadors. Quite a path she's got going on there, with loads of points of intersection, loads of paths that could be crossed, loads of people that could be met, loads of real-life experiences that could be had. Using simple pin dropping and mapping technologies, we are now able to notify users exactly when and where they'll be crossing paths with their travel buddies down the line. Access to your own personal community of travel buddies and a digital journal of your travel memories, traveling together, connected, and forever. One lasting memory I have from this last trip to Cambodia was on the way to Phnom Penh Airport when I was coming home. I quizzed my tuk-tuk driver, Pohin, on his life. 4 kids, a hell of a work schedule, and a Liverpool fan, unfortunately. But as he dropped me off at the terminal, I turned and asked him if he'd ever been to London. He looked at me and said, "No, I'm not as lucky as you. I've never left Cambodia." He was right, of course, but it also hammered home the point that both I and probably the majority of us in this room are fortunate. I felt the real ecstasy of seeing the sun rise over Machu Picchu, the real adrenaline of a great white shark gnawing on a cage in Australia, and the real fear of being incarcerated in a Thai prison. A great story, but a story for another time. I hope all of you have some stories for the grandkids too, and if you don't, then get out there and experience the real world. She's beautiful. And future technology, travel, and hopefully Tripwire will be able to give the less fortunate, such as Pohin, the ability to take his families and physically explore the wider world. Moral of the story being here is that future technology should only enhance our physical, emotional, and interpersonal real-life experiences. Our vision at Tripwire is to facilitate a modern-day Garden of Eden for both open-minded and independent backpackers, as well as the local communities. A living, breathing digital ecosystem that connects people through real life and real-time experiences. We want to breed travel inspiration, and we want the community to hold each other's hands on the path to self-discovery. Life shouldn't be lived through technology. Technology should enhance the way we live our real lives. Now, this is a little highlight reel coming up here of a couple of the Tripwire community that are out living the real life as it should be now. We've got Harriet out on the salt flats in Bolivia. Tom and Brian getting interviewed by MTV at Field Day Festival in Australia. Carol in Rio. Lou on Bondi Beach in Australia. Emma on the water in Nicaragua. Harriet at the Rugby World Cup final at Twickenham. And my personal favourite so far, Jacob diving off the island of Boracay in the Philippines. I'm so grateful for everyone that has had an impact on the ages of accessibility, information, and interactivity, and we look to continue their legacy with Tripwire through the ages of immediacy and beyond. Hopefully, the world will all get a chance to take a walk on the wild side, and for all of you, be sure to squeeze the most out of every journey. Good luck, extra Joss, and thanks for your time. Cheers.